The body has its own chemo, its own defense system, and people, when they attempt to detox, for instance, are taking away the body's trying to do it, and then they're guessing, oh, I think I need more of this to detox. I need more magnesium. I need more copper. And then the body says, what are you doing to me? I've got the job under control, and you're making it harder for me. Now I've got to juggle these new minerals you put in and figure out a way to get rid of them too. So that's how it goes. We do not trust our body. Our immune system is the ultimate detox system. You can't do any better. And if you treat it right and you keep your liver healthy and your pancreas healthy and your gut healthy, it's going to take care of the job.
Aloha and welcome to another show, guys. I'm beyond excited for today's show because we have a guest who is truly in a league of their own, Adam Bergstrom. He's a researcher, writer, and independent thinker who spent decades questioning mainstream health narrative. He's known for connecting the dots in ways most people never even consider, and today we're diving into some of the topics that challenge what we've been taught, from excess calcium, vitamin D, to alternative proteins, inflammation, and more. So make sure you guys subscribe, follow, and hit that notification bell so you never miss an episode. You can also follow me on Patreon for ad-free content and access to exclusive episodes not available on YouTube. If you know someone who could benefit from hearing this conversation, please be sure to share this show with them. And of course, a quick disclaimer: this show is for informational and entertainment purposes only. Always consult your doctor or healthcare provider before making any changes to your health routine. Now, let's welcome Adam to the conversation. Enjoy the show. Well, Adam, welcome back to the show. It's always a pleasure to have you here. You always have such a unique way of looking at the world, and I'm excited to see where this conversation takes us today. But I do have a handful of questions that I've wanted to ask before that we just haven't got to because we just kind of, how we go off the subject. So maybe we can start with something you've mentioned before about excess calcium. Can excess calcium actually be dangerous? Because most people think calcium is essential for strong bones and healthy heart. But why would you say too much calcium is harmful?
Well, they used to have a saying, look at that calcareous old man. It means a calcified man. So calcification is also associated with aging. When you take calcium supplements, it's not a good idea. And when they grind up cow bones, people might be surprised about this. Do they grind them up to sell them as calcium supplements? No, they grind them up to be protein supplements. It's when you get what was that protein powder put out by someone in a plastic bottle? I warned people against it though because it had too many cow parts besides the bones, and they were taking it. It had some collagen, that was good, but in a plastic bottle, not a good idea either. So I wouldn't even carry it in the health food store I managed. But basically, a bone is protein, and it's a special type of calcium called more like instead of a calcium phosphate, it's calcium carbonate. Uh, Young bone is flexible. When you harden a bone with too much calcium, and particularly the calcium phosphate type, you get brittle bone. It gets dense. And what they do is they measure the denseness of your bone, and the denseness means it's going to break easier. So anyway, calcium in your food is fine. In fact, if you don't have cancer, it prevents the growth of cancer. uh, Soils with too much loose silica can actually promote cancer. So, whenever you have a highly calcified, to a degree, farmland, it's good. Now, One problem is a lot of people like when they grow their plants, they put eggshells on it to get extra calcium into it. Well, there's a rule called rich son, poor grandson. And what that means is at first you'll get more growth, but then you get less growth and less problems. So, anyway, if calcium is taken in the diet and you eat whole foods and maybe a little goat cheese, cow cheese, whatever, you'll get plenty of calcium. It's a minor player in bone.
Yeah, that's true. I think you can get calcium in dark leafy greens as well.
You do. Yes, you do. Uh,
Yeah.
Then you can either you get more, ironically, when you cook it because big calcium, the cells are broken down, and you get more out of it. But either way, you get calcium in a variety of foods. They come in like on solar nutrition. You get them in nuts, you get them in fruit. Midday, you get them in greens, you get them in tomatoes, you get it in a lot of foods. And at nighttime, if you eat fish, a non-oily fish, you get it in the fish. You get it in potatoes. You get it in. It's really quite easy to get. Many times you don't have to worry about specific minerals if you eat whole foods. And with solar, since you're eating tree foods, vine foods, and root foods, and the animals, if you're an animal eater that eats them, you're going to get enough. You don't even have to worry about any mineral at that point. If you get a symptom, maybe you start looking around a little, but most people surprisingly have too many minerals. And when you have excess minerals, they work to, when you have the right amount, they go to their places. But when you have too many, they're loose. They become free radicals. They become damaging to the body because they have no use, and you basically have to get rid of it. Like if, let's say, you're going to build a garden and you're going to have bricks around it, and you order 40 bricks. Okay, no problem. Now, what if you get 5,000 bricks? What are you going to do with the other bricks? You got the other bricks, and now you're responsible for them. You either got to send them away to the dump or figure something to do with it. And think of all the extra work to handle basically 3,980 different extra bricks. That's exactly how the body works. They have known about excess minerals aging the body in the past. It's been totally forgotten now because supplement sellers got to sell their supplements, right? So they want you to take as much as possible. And excess iodine causes thyroid cancer. You go on and get different results, and you become a calcareous old man or old woman if you eat too much calcium.
Wow. What are the signs that you have too many minerals or too many calcium?
Old age. That's one of them, seriously. And many of the other diseases like your arthritis, etc.
Oh, really?
In fact,
Wow.
arthritis is not from too little minerals, it's from too many minerals.
Really? Is there a way to reverse that once it's already in your system or already when your bones are crooked?
Definitely. If you eat whole foods in solar timing regularly, it balances itself. The body has its own chemo, its own defense system, and people when they attempt to detox, for instance, are taking away the body's trying to do it, and then they're guessing. Oh, I think I need more of this to detox. I need more magnesium. I need more copper. And then the body says, "What are you doing to me? I've got the job under control, and you're making it harder for me. Now I've got to juggle these new minerals you put in and figure out a way to get rid of them too." So that's how it goes. We do not trust our body. Our immune system is the ultimate detox system. You can't do any better. And if you treat it right and you keep your liver healthy and your pancreas healthy and your gut healthy, it's going to take care of the job.
I see.
Even if you've severely uh, overloaded with toxins and heavy metals and mercury and all of that, despite the fact that they say mercury and these other heavy metals don't come out of your body, they do. Some are slower than others, and the body has a way of protecting you by encapsulating them. A tumor basically is one way it does it until it can handle it. Many tumors will go away if you just eat sanely, and then they can gradually let go of what is tumorized to protect you from it going to the heart or the vital organs.
I see. Instead, we treat it as a
We treat
tumor. Yeah, and with the chemo.
Yep, and then we go get chemo, and that, see, cancer is actually a systemic disease. When people put lead on to get a particular area, it's systemic. So when you cut out a cancer, it's much like cutting out a syphilis pustule and saying you just cured syphilis, or or a or smallpox. You get pustules from that. Okay, I cut five of those pustules out. I killed those pustules, and now your smallpox is cured. That's nonsense. It's a systemic problem, and that's why many times biopsies and treatment and killing cancer actually, okay, it's like ants. What happens if you kill a scout ant? You get a million more. The pheromones go out, it signals the army. Cancer is very much like that, and people do not realize that.
Is it because it's a parasite or is it a mold?
Actually, a cancer is an isoparasite, and it is actually a therapy. It is an incipient organ. Just like we had mitochondria, we didn't have mitochondria at one time. They colonized our body as an invader, and we put it to advantage, and now it is very advantageous to us. Cancer will give us superpowers eventually, but it's like a very, very wild bronco you have to ride, and most people can't ride it. Now, some people, like my friend Judy Utley, she had cancer of the spine, cancer of the lungs, cancer of the breast. She continues smoking, but she burned a big hole in the back of her back, initiated a counter shock like chemo, like an auto accident, like killer bees, like being stung by ants, and the cancer went completely away. So for 8 or 9 years, she was totally cancer free, and I'm not sure what exactly she went on cosmic vacation over when she left.
She wasn't very old when she passed.
When she got it, I think she was in her 60s, but I met her. I met her a long time before that, and she already was complaining about green pus coming out of her breasts. So we already knew she had some kind of problems back in the day. But when she walked in the doctor's office, she said, in fact, I actually gave her a neck alignment, and her eye drooped. And that's what made her go to the doctor. She got tested, came back, and the doctor says, "How are you even alive to walk in here? You have cancer everywhere. You have cancer of the spine." That's why her neurological, her eye left. Now, cancer of the spine, she got rid of it. It was completely gone. Her her lung cancer was completely gone. Her breast cancer was completely gone. That's not supposed to happen, but it does many times. Once you go in for chemo, you could be lucky, and the shock actually cures the cancer. But most people get worse because they don't get shocked to the correct degree. And the correct degree is a matter of luck mostly, as far as they know now. There are ways to tell how far to go. Emmanuel Ribisi had them, but his labs are closed, and he's a real a threat to the establishment, to the cancer establishment, because they're making money on killing people slowly. The longer they live under cancer, the better for them, and they give them treatment, and they give them drugs, and they give them all of these things. It's an industry. but
Yeah.
cancer could be handled much better. And I've already talked about cachexia. When you have wasting syndrome, you can actually keep a person alive for a year or two or three or four in good health. Uh, there's no cure for that type of cancer, but sometimes cancer spontaneously goes away. So the longer you can live, a year or two or three, the cancer may suddenly disappear. Like my friend Judy Utley. I kept one friend, before I knew what I was doing, my friend Carol Crosby was end stage liver cancer, totally bedridden, 85 pounds, had to be in the bathroom all the time, carried in. She was basically feces herself out, her body, 85, should have lived about a week after she started doing some of the things I told her, including sugar, strangely enough. Whatever she could get in her mouth, she got up to 103. She was doing artwork, she was driving, she was going to the store, she was shopping, and only at the very end did she fade out. And I think it was from her friends giving her advice again about how to kill cancer. And I don't know, but she got an extra hour, an extra uh, year of life, and remembered me in her will. That's one reason we're able to move.
What about vitamin D? I know you raised concerns before about that supplementation of that vitamin D. Is it bad
Met
to take it orally and it's better in the sun?
the sun is the only way to get it in your food. You don't need it on your body. Your food will absorb vitamin E. Now, here's the funny thing. If you take olive oil out in the sun, the olive oil you have, and just expose it to direct sunlight, so it has to be in a bowl or some way that direct sunlight gets to it. If you've got flies and you're not holding it, like I'll hold it out in the sun and swat the flies off, but you can put saran wrap on it. Saran wrap will actually pass the correct frequency of vitamin D to make it. Uh, Plastic won't, glass won't, other things won't pass it, but saran wrap will. Uh, you leave it out for 20 to 30 minutes, all you need in a temporal or a temperate or tropical climate, and you get it loaded with vitamin D that will last for 9 months if you pack it away in your in a dark place. Now, dry food is different. Dry food is really interesting. The Italians, when they first moved to New York, uh, they took their pasta and hung it out on clotheslines to dry. And the city of New York got annoyed with that when they moved into apartments and were hanging it over the railings in front of the buildings and in back of the buildings. So they told them to stop it. But when they stopped it, they all started getting sick. And it was because the vitamin D wasn't there. Now, in Italy, they were. So the Italians were actually importing their pasta from Italy to get well again. Now, the dry food, like if you have hay, it will not give you vitamin D, strangely enough. But if it dies and it dries, then you will get vitamin D. Many of the other vitamins will get destroyed, but you'll have your vitamin D. So they actually found that out in the 1920s, I believe it was. And they said, well, that's not a good idea because it kills the other vitamin. Never thinking, take one batch of it and eat it for the vitamin D and bring the other in the barn before before the sunlight destroys the other vitamins. They just don't think that way. And they don't want you to know that vitamin D, as they make it D2 and D3 and all the other variations, there's actually about 10 types, are toxic. They're not a true vitamin, they're a vitamer. They're basically a variation of it, much like you get synthetic estrogen instead of real estrogen, or progestin instead of progesterone. So, so anyway, the dry version of it. You take that, and now people say, well, when you get to the 45 angle of sun, it doesn't work anymore. That's a lie. The difference is the olive oil that will take 20 minutes, and in 30 minutes, you'll start to destroy the vitamin D and kill it. But in Berlin or Anchorage or London, you put it out in the midday at sun, and then you can leave it out for about 3 hours and it will infuse. The whole lie that you can't get vitamin D in Alaska or in Antarctica is untrue. I mean, it's just fiction so they can sell synthetic vitamin D. The big promoter of it was on Big Pharma's payroll. Why they want to sell vitamin D is because drugs are a bad cop and supplements are good cop. So they get you on both ends. They basically advertise the cure like ivermectin, hydroxychloroquine. They're making money on that too. They want you to be divided and sell everything for you not to go out of the system and get something away from their system, and that's why even shamanism works better than taking a cure through the medical profession. Once you see someone advertise an herb as being an antioxidant, that's not shamanistic talk, that's medical mythology talk. So as soon as I hear a person say antioxidant, I click off and go into something else because I know they don't they don't know Shilajit from Shinola.
And antioxidants, if you have cancer, is that worse? Because doesn't it feed that cancer?
Antioxidant makes cancers grow, oxidants make it spread. So, of course, your antioxidants are a little better. A growing prostate cancer is no problem. It may get big, but it's the spread. And what do? A male who has prostate cancer can live for years with a non spreadable one. As soon as they take fish oil or radiation or the treatment, they spread it. And then, of course, they're going to die a lot faster that way. Now, if it starts spreading, you can then take antioxidants. The best one, carbon dioxide, is bag breathing or carbogen or whatever, and you can back it off. And if you take a lot of sugar, also, you're going to be saved from prostate cancer, even if you're on your dying bed. And then there's cachexia again, and the things you can do for that. I've actually written a book about that now.
Interesting. Yeah, I have cachexia as one of my questions to you.
Okay.
Because we said we were gonna go down that road today, so I figured we should talk about it. So that was my last question to you.
Cachexia or wasting syndrome, 200 million people die of it a year
Wow.
unnecessarily. All a doctor can offer you is crocodile tears, and here's a drug to relieve the pain so you don't go through too much misery. And then they walk away. They have no cure for it. And they'll admit they have no cure, but all they can do is palliative things to make it easy. And then and a person with cachexia is given 3 months. That's the average to live. Carol Crosby with end stage liver cancer. Look up how long that lives. A person with that lives. With liver cancer, you live 3 months. With end cancer, you could have she could have been gone in a day or two. So automatically, all you have to do. I had a I was in a relationship a long time ago where I used all kinds of methods I knew at that point to save her life. And she died of cachexia, basically. But I noticed in her last week of life, all she could eat was this Walmart junk tapioca pudding. The only thing, everything else she would vomit up or couldn't bear to put it in her mouth, even. And so we fed her alive, went to Walmart and stocked up, and that was keeping her alive a little longer. Well, when my best friend for years and decades, Carol Crosby, got cancer, I remembered that and I thought, what if we out eat the cancer? What if you put sugar in your mouth and you're going to get calories from just sugar and then start putting foods that you can eat and that you don't vomit on in your mouth. And even then, in this point, I'm against supplements, but get some vitamins that absorb, like chewing gum, they say will absorb through your mouth and gradually start to gain weight. Well, at first she had bad luck with it because she was eating other foods that she just vomited up. But eventually it caught on. She was able to start gaining weight. And of course, she was very enthusiastic when she gained about 5 pounds, just 5 pounds was something. And now she could get out of bed and she could get off the toilet. She could walk around by herself. And eventually she could drive her car again. She could go to the store again. That's not supposed to happen. It never happens. The doctors say, "You're now in hospice. Goodbye. Have a nice trip." That's what they tell you. But she lived. And I realized, wow. Uh, After she died, though, I decided to research it more because we were going through our own medical emergencies and financial problems at the time. So we were doing this all mostly by email with one phone call and with Messenger. And I wish I'd had more time, and I didn't have time to really investigate it. Well, I found out an amazing thing. For sure, without doubt, in what was his name? Kellogg. The Kellogg man who lived to 93, Dr. Kellogg, he discovered that we were frugivores because we have saliva that has amylase. No carnivore has amylase. No fish has amylase. We do. And I realized amylase is also the main cure of a cancer therapy by a gynecologist, Dr. Beard. Dr. Beard. And so I put two and two together and realized that the amylase in the mouth, instead of having, it's notorious for someone with liver cancer to have stomach digestion problems, but we have alternate ways to digest through the mouth. So I realized that what you do is convert the mouth into the stomach. So it never gets to the stomach, and all the essential elements will absorb. Also, when a person is sick, their body adapts. It has backup systems. Your spleen destroys blood cells, and your pancreas makes them. But no, excuse me, your liver makes them. But what happens you're uh, when you're desperate? It changes. Suddenly, your spleen reverts to what it did in childhood and starts making them. And so we have backup plans. Our body is not this organ, that organ, this organ. They're a symphony, they're in harmony, and they work together. So once you get sick, they have ways to deal with this if we stay out of the way often. Anyway, with one person, with not knowing what I was doing, I figured out how to do it, and now people's lives could be extended 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, 4 year, and maybe there would be another cure comes up, or maybe cancer sometimes just gives up because if you out eat it and it eats. See, the problem with cancer, it eats what you eat. It's an isoparasite. So if you need vitamin B12, it needs vitamin B12. If you need vitamin B6, it needs it. So, and it takes it all away from you if you don't provide it for your own body. And when you do that, you out eat it. And it sounds preposterous, but it's for real.
Yeah, it's incredible. Yeah. What about vitamin A? There's a lot of debate about vitamin A. Some say it's essential, others say it's toxic in large amounts.
It is toxic in large amounts if you're not eating other foods. Dr. Donsbach, for instance, was taking $75,000, 75,000 units a day, and he lived fairly long life. Uh, the toxicity, though, becomes if you take fish oil. like more people are taking today, it becomes toxic and it will give you cataracts and, or more important, not cataracts, but macular degeneration. Is toxic vitamin A made toxic by fish oil. Fish oil is a major cause of heart attacks, macular degeneration, and of course, I wrote the Yellow Fat Disease Compendium about muscular sclerosis, muscular dystrophy, Parkinson's, Alzheimer's, Lou Gehrig's. They're all they're all progressive lipofuscinosis or yellow fat disease.
Yeah, which is very dangerous.
Very much so. And people are recommending fish oil for babies now. And they're correct. The baby is born deficient in essential fatty acids because the placenta has filtered it out because it's a toxin. So they're going to put it back in, making the baby susceptible to early age cancers, turbo cancer. Vaccines aren't the only thing. Uh, Turbo cancers and all kinds of things like that are the major problems. And now that they've fluoridated drugs, over 20% of drugs are fluoridated. They're doing everything basically to destroy the human race. And you notice that the life expectancy in the US is sliding down the hill.
Yeah. Yeah. It was going up there for a while. Now it's going back down. I think we're what, the 15th or 16th or something in the world
I
of
think we're
long
even
living.
lower than that, if I'm not mistaken. I think we're down
Yeah.
to, yeah, way down there, 40 or something. I'll have to check that for sure. So,
Yeah. Wow. I know. I think the top is Japan, Italy. I forget where else. I think it keeps changing. Korea, I think, was newly put on there on that list for surviving long
yeah,
elderly people. Yeah.
it varies, and some could live longer. Like Scandinavia is pretty good, but if they stopped eating fish, it'd be better. They eat too many cold water fish. So they're already up, I think, into their 80s, but they could live into their 90s. So even the countries that already have a high expectancy, why not add some more years?
Exactly.
At
There's
84,
so much more to.
I still have a lot of variations of yellow fat disease and various problems that have happened to me. Because I'm not cured of yellow fat disease. But again, I was dying of it 10 years ago. And now there is still lipofuscin in me. There's problems like that. I deal with it on a basis and figure it out as I go. And also use a lot of reflexology. You ever see something like this? There's a lump on my elbow here. It's
Oh,
like a golf ball.
wow. Did you
That's
fall or is that something else? That's a bone? Bone
No,
structure?
it's actually a leakage of the bursa, and they have a fancy name for it. I already forgot it. Uh, but what it is, if you put your arms together, you now have your large intestine. So these are the flexures. This is a flexure that has been giving me trouble because I've had an inguinal hernia. So for a few when this first happened, I didn't think about that. It's the flexure. So to work on this, I have to work on this flexure, which I am now, and I'm getting improvements. And also, I got the original hernia from when a good friend of mine, a close friend of mine, died, and I was so distraught. And he died of hernias, and I got his hernia. Now, the subconscious has a mind of its own. It's not too smart. How did I help him? You see, I figured I should have known something to help him and was attempting to, but I didn't know what I know now. Ironically, what I know now, I could have saved his life. He could have lived another year or two or more. But but getting a his disease does not help him at all. And
Mm,
the subconscious, though, it doesn't think that way. It
mhm.
reacts like you're in an accident and you're wearing a red blouse and you just ate a tuna fish sandwich, and now you can't eat tuna anymore, and you can't wear red anymore, and you don't know why. That makes no sense. But the subconscious has what's the Scientologists are actually correct. It's called the reactive mind. It just links things together ridiculously without without is it causation or is it just coincidence? And many things are just coincidence. The mind picks it up and bingo, we have all the health requirements you hear with people saying magnesium does this because they just associated it with the reactive mind instead of common sense.
Yeah, I hear a lot of nurses and even doctors who are, let's say, nurses for the cardiac section or doctors that work on hearts. They also die of those same illness. Cancer doctors die of cancer, things like that. Because I don't know if it's sympathy or what it is, but they also bring that onto themselves.
That is the reactive mind.
Yeah.
They now they are often. I was drawn to colon therapy. I know a lot of things now. In fact, actually, Swami Nitty Gritty uh, wanted me to be a colon therapist. But what I know now has actually applied to my own condition. I would without that knowledge, I would have been dead already. So dead and gone. So I know a kidney doctor. His name, believe it or not, was Doctor Donor. Can you believe it? And and anyway, it's been known heart surgeons tend to die of heart disease. Even Ray Peat, uh, do you know his thyroid was destroyed by fluoroscopy when he was a child? And because so many people attacked him, his thyroid gave out. He had a hoarse voice at the end, and that was psychogenically. It was generated that he really didn't defend himself. Uh, Many people get mad at stupid callers. He would act like they were asking sane questions and always be calm. He needed to scream and yell, and maybe he would have got away with it. Another commentator named who has a 3 hour used to have a 3 hour show got uh, had a stroke, and now his tongue doesn't work. Silver tongue, you make your living like that. Guitarists suddenly have their arm go out. Massage therapists have their hands go out. That's no coincidence. It happens all the time. When the subconscious says, I've had enough of massage therapy, I'm going to screw your hands up, and then you're looking for kind of cures. And actually, the cure is get another job.
Mhm. Interesting. Yeah. Yeah.
And a guitar player, I have a good friend that had that problem, and he really needed to do something else because his subconscious, maybe his parents as a child forced him. The cornerstone technique would find out the exact details. Since I didn't do the cornerstone technique on him after he got that condition, I don't know. I can just speculate on how it happened and who is the matter with him or was the matter with him if he's still alive. Been a long time.
Mhm. You mentioned about the liposuctions. Um, you said you still may have some. How do you get rid of it? Is it just you detox by sweating?
If
Do
I
you?
knew if I knew that, I would solve the mystery of aging. I could
Yeah.
live to a 200, 300 years old. Nobody knows. I- In other animals besides humans, you can measure a fish's life and certain animals to the week by their lipofuscin content in their body. As you start as a child, unless you've got a special disease, there's almost no lipofuscin. And then you accumulate it as you eat. And the main secret, the only way you can really get it, is estrogen and omega 3 fatty acids or radiation breaking down your saturated fats into omega 3 fatty acids. Omega 6s can't give you that. Uh, Omega 6s are really bad, but I haven't been able to find direct connections, so I couldn't even write one authoritative book on it. I've written 14 books and could write more because yellow fat disease is A to B. There's no, this works sometimes and doesn't work other times. It's 100%. So when you have omega 3 that they give babies now, you're going to have all kinds of diseases and you accelerate old age. So people will live less and less long lives. They're insisting we have all this dementia because people or authorities are insisting you have omega 3. It's $1 billion business and it's put in high oleic uh, seed oils. That's really, they've converted them uh, into toxic. Toxic oils by actually getting, here's the funny thing, they're getting rid of the omega 3s in it, but they call it high oleic because they're protecting you from it on the sly while selling them to you and with the other hand.
And you mentioned estrogen. How is estrogen doing that to us? Making
Est-
us
Estrogen is a stress hormone. It is not a female or male hormone. Males have it too. The difference is pregnancy is a big stress. It's a huge stress that a man doesn't go through. So, as a hormone, you need estrogen, you need cortisol, you need these chemicals for the pregnancy. Then it's gone. Now, when a woman enters menopause, the pause with men, she she basically, they think you must still need it because you don't have it anymore. Well, it's not a female hormone because the men, if they have estrogen, they get prostate cancer. What the heck's going on here? So women on estrogen afterward, and the natural is even worse because it works more directly. They get higher amounts of ovarian cancers, uterine cancers, and every cancer in the book, liver cancer, whatever. So it's an essential. It's just like cortisol is essential. But who do you know goes to Whole Food and says, "Can I have a cortisol supplement?" They would think you were nuts. Well, they think it's not nuts if you want an estrogen. It's asking the same thing basically. Uh, I want an adrenaline supplement. Do you have that on what shelf will I find that? You'll find it when you get upset. That's when you'll find it.
You know what they're doing now that I've seen on um Instagram is these older women, I guess they're in their menopause phase now, that they use estrogen creams on their face, and they say that it's a youth cream. So put
Yeah,
it on your face, not on your arms, put it on your face and it removes wrinkles. And that's what's they've been doing, I guess, for the past, I don't know, I've noticed it maybe a past year or two. And yeah, that's kind of scary that these
it is.
women
It,
are promoting this.
yeah. Now, if they had a natural estrogen, they might get some results, but side effects. And I guarantee lots of side effects off of that because the skin does have penetration for certain hormones. It's basically a spacesuit that protects us. Like people who think they're taking Epsom salt baths and they're going to get magnesium, ridiculous. The body is a total shield. The warm bath will help them, but the Epsom salt won't. They won't get any magnesium. People who put iodine on their skin think they're going to get it in their body, and they tell by how it disappears. No, it just evaporated or oxidized on their skin and went away. You can't absorb it through your skin. This is a mistake. You can absorb sodium, uh, and they've done all these experiments in the great. No, let's see what lake. What is the lake in the Middle East that's so salty? It's a totally
Dead
salty.
Sea, the
And
Dead Sea.
The Dead Sea, exactly. That's where they do a treatment there because it's good because of the salt and the mud and everything. But they actually experimented to see what would absorb. And our skin just doesn't absorb many things because it's a protection. It's actually the border patrol in our body.
I see. Wow. Wow. So when these women are putting this on their face, I don't know what kind of creams they're getting, but even sometimes they even say the natural ones has yams in it. Would that be bad too? Because it's still estrogen.
It would be, but the yam itself, if it wasn't extracted out of it, is not gonna be harmful. You know, you
I
can
see.
now if you went on a yam diet continually and you ate it at the inappropriate circadian time of the day, you could actually have a problem with it. But
Mhm.
otherwise, you eat yams at night, you're not gonna have much problem at all.
I
Especially,
see.
it's good to rotate. You see, plants don't like us to eat them. They have
Hmm.
defenses against them. In fact, lipofuscin or the omega-3 fatty oils are a major defense, but they have a lot of other pesticides and insecticides to kill insects and frugivores. That's including cows and we apply it because when we eat vegetables, then we have a problem.
Hmm. Wow. What about zinc and copper balance? I know people love to supplement with zinc. What happens when the zinc and copper ratio gets thrown off?
You know, the copper ratio really exists, but it varies between people. And
Hmm.
the problem is also, are they measuring zinc? When they do a blood test for zinc, where do they measure it? And a person will say, in the blood. And my question is, define blood. And people look at you strangely. Well, blood is blood. Oh, are they measuring it in the blood serum or the blood cell? And let's take an example. If you have 60% potassium inside the red blood cell, you probably have cancer. If you have 60% of potassium outside the blood cell, you probably just had a heart attack. so, so without even putting something in your mouth, by shoving it around from place to place, from cell to serum, you now have a problem. And often the too much or too little is dependent on acid alkalinity and whether have an antioxidant or oxidant uh, overflow in your body. And they don't even take that in. Long story short, too much zinc and supplements give you copper cancer, uh, gi- give you prostate cancer. If you have too much copper after you have the prostate cancer, you now have metastasized it.
Oh
So
no.
that's the story between them. But they are balanced. Uh, copper is number 29, I believe, on the periodic table of the elements, and its buddy right next to it is zinc. So they have an effect on the blood cells, for instance, which are on the fourth period of the periodic table. I don't want to get too complicated here, but the periodic table is a reflex chart of the nesting doll effect of the human body. We're like a nesting doll. We started as a proton and a neutron, and now the proton and the neutron needs a safe environment like a house, so it builds an atom, and now it the proton is safe, but then the atom, it feels vulnerable in the environment, so it builds a molecule. Now it has its house, and now you go up through the DNA and the chromosomes and uh, inner organs, the nucleus, and you go into the cell, then you go into the serum, and then you go out into the bloodstream, finally in the urine even. So people don't factor that in and how valuable information that is. So if you get a sarcoma, it comes someplace between an outer and an inner meeting at a certain place. A carcinogen is mostly coming from heredity, but a sarcoma is coming from a combination. And when you have a lymphoma or leukemia, you got it from the outside. You got it from glyphosate or pesticides or fungicides or something out in the environment. And doctors don't factor that in. They don't look at the building, the blueprint for the human body, the periodic table of the elements, all in its periods and its sections. And you can find the rooms on the vertical line, and you can find the floors of the building on the horizontal lines.
Oh. So what is DHA? What exactly is it, and is it really essential for us or our brain health?
To destroy it, yes. It's one of the major toxins that fish use, that flax oil uses, that even CBD oil uses, not as much as flax oil. But anyway, DHA and EPA are basically the oil. Like people have asked me, uh, so if I don't take omega-3 fatty acids, how do I get DHA? They're the same thing. That's more like asking, do you get your mercury from a mine or do you get it from the ground or the ocean, kind of thing. It's the same thing.
I see. I see. That's too
And
funny.
and
Okay.
and you can't blame people. The marketers have made it like it's a different thing, and so
Yeah.
I get that question so often that no, how do you get it? That is it. You don't get it. If you get DHA, EPA, fish oil, even cod liver oil, all of the krill oil, algae oil, it's all the same thing. It's omega 3 and it causes aging, sometimes very rapid aging. And if you're unlucky, you get Lou Gehrig's disease, Alzheimer's disease, et cetera, a long line of them.
Oh, wow. Wow. My grandmom had Lou Gehrig's disease, I believe it was. Yeah.
Yeah, and it could have been foresaw, first of all, by getting rid of as many fatty acids as possible and eating sugar.
Interesting. Um, we see a big push, I think, today for these lab grown meats and insect proteins and, being marketed as a friendly eco system thing. Do you think there's a deeper agenda behind that and
Oh,
this
yes.
sustainability? Aha. Yeah, I figured so.
They're basically using technology for the cancer cells to make it, so it is not a high choice. And also, we need to get off the food chain. The food chain, they want us on the food chain so when the feces hits the rotary oscillator, we starve to death. There will be people starving to death, and there will be fighting over coming into people's houses to get food because people are starving. But if we all have our own garden, do you know you don't need fertilizer? Anyone listening to Gary Matsuoka knows sand. All you need is throw it in the dirt and it grows. We used to know when I was a hippie, uh, to spread pot around the world, we would just throw it at Mulholland Drive or something and stomp on it and leave it alone. There'd be pot all over the place. Well, food grows really easy. They make it like it's tough. Anybody can plant stuff in their backyard, trade with the neighbors tomatoes for potatoes or whatever it is, and we're free. We don't starve to death in the community like that. Everybody else depends on Walmart, Whole Foods, Safeway, whatever. They're going to starve to death when the food chain breaks down, and the food chain is dependent on the computer, which is dependent on satellites and what happens when we have a solar minimum or or a coronal discharge and we have magnetic storms and everything like that and it all goes out because we're going to have a big one pretty soon like we had in I forget 1842, whenever when the telegraph went down and everything like that. And actually the telegraph caught fire in many places from that kind of thing. Just like with the Tesla cars and the batteries and all of that kind of thing. You
Yeah.
bet they don't really know what they're doing at this point.
Yeah.
And anyway, long story short, support your local farmers. Like that's why we're in California. As crazy as it is here, it's a beautiful state. It has local food. This is where the food is. We're not going to starve when that happens because we know the local farmers. Uh, and it's just the politics here that are crazy. Politicians come and go. I've seen Republicans take over. I've seen Democrats take over. I've seen it get very, very this way, very, very blue, and very, very red. So,
They both have the same agenda at the end, I think. I mean, they both, I don't know. They both are terrible.
well,
Bottom line.
let's put it this way. California was saved by the pandemic by federal money from President Trump at the time. We
Mhm.
were 58 uh, billion or trillion? Billion dollars, I believe it was $1 billion in debt in this state. And we went to $58 in the black. But guess what? They spent that really quickly. It all went to private industry. It
Cool.
all went to Pelosi and everybody else. So
Exactly.
it's good cop, bad cop. They
I
they
know.
they progress. Spengler called this the we were now in the winter of the decline of Western civilization, and this was the time of the czars. Even Trump has been compared to Caesar as a czar. But we've already had, I think the czar started with Clinton, and then it went into George Bush Jr., and then it went into Obama, and now it's back in Trump, and then it went to Biden. And these are all czars now. Forget the Congress. They don't do anything except watch and
Yeah.
take our money.
Take your money. Yeah, exactly. It's awful.
They don't
Awful.
even approve anything. Go to war, they're supposed to do it. Just bomb somebody.
Yeah, and they were, talking about what's his name? Our previous president. He don't even he didn't even sign those papers. They think it was all auto pen,
Yeah,
So I mean, it's like, I mean, he's obviously his mind wasn't there. You could clearly see that he was. And how old is he? He's younger than you.
yeah.
Yeah.
People are hypnotized. There is a hive mind. When I mentioned Michael Milken is behind the pandemic, no one ever takes that up and investigates to see if it's true. So I realized finally, stop saying it. You've been saying it since you noticed it in 2020. I found out it's on YouTube videos and it's invisible. There are talks in 2011 of Elon Musk and Michael Milken saying we are going to change the genome of the human race so we can go to Mars. Well meaning, but crazy. It's insane. Now, if they it, changing the genome can be valuable for going to outer space, but we don't want to go to Mars. I don't want to go to Mars.
No.
So why change our genome? Why not just change their genome and
Put the homeless up in Mars.
yeah, right. They're not going to make it. You see his ships exploding. It's all a ruse. I think we can go to Mars, but
Mhm.
it's not with the technology we have now. And it's
Mhm.
not by changing our genomes and the crazy ideas they have. Uh, and actually, they've got to actually get to the moon again and figure out. Some people don't believe we went there in the first place. I hope them get to the moon. So I'm for the side if they went there. But now our technology is actually less. We had more technology back then. They say, how come we have more technology now? That's not true. The
Mm.
technology is made so shoddy. Do you know we have a little toaster oven here? Vibrant Gal has had it before she moved here for like 30 years. Now we buy popcorn poppers, we bought to get our coffee, all kinds of things. They break down within weeks. Uh, we have I got a flashlight. It's already going screwy. And those type of little flashlights you used to buy did last for a decade, and now they
Yeah,
only
because they
last.
all they all made in China, that's why. So they don't last. That's I mean, that's the honest truth. And the older stuff was made in Japan and they actually made them a lot
Yeah,
stronger. But
true. By the way, I
yeah,
was going to ask you, were any of your relatives involved in the earthquake up there in northern Japan?
no, not that I don't know. I don't
Okay,
think so. No.
okay. It was a
Yeah.
big earthquake,
I
6 plus, I think. Mm.
Yeah, yeah, I saw that. And the funny thing is they predicted somebody predicted or something's been going around that something's going to happen big on July 5th in
Mm.
Japan, like a big tsunami, earthquake tsunami or something like that's going to happen. And my mom just got back from Japan on the 30th of June. She just got back and she's back in Vegas now. But yeah, so she flew over there and my brother's like, "Why are you going to go there? It's dangerous." And she's like, "I'm fine. I'll be fine." Anyway, yeah. So I don't know what this rumor thing is going on, but yeah, something is talking about that. But yeah, my mom's fine. She's back
Good.
home. Yeah.
Some of it's fear
Yeah.
porn, but while we go into the Maunder minimum, though, and worse, there will be some problems. There are going to be more earthquakes, tsunamis, and
Sure.
particularly you'll notice a lot more volcanic activity is going on right now.
Yeah, and you
So,
know where we are, right? I'm in Hawaii and what do we call? We're called the oh my gosh, I can't think of the name. Well, we're the center of the fire of the rim. Is that what it's called? Anyway, we're right in the center of all California and Japan and all this crazy earthquakes and we're right in the center. So if something bad happens, Hawaii's right in the middle. We're gonna get the tsunami or something. We're right here.
yep. Yeah, you're inland, I hope.
Nope, the water is right there. Can you see it? I don't know if you can see
Oh,
that, right?
wow.
That's the
Yeah,
water.
I can see it. I didn't notice that before.
Yeah,
That's
I'm right on the marina. It's right there. So
Fortunately, you have, sirens. When I was in, Kauai, they would practice. They
they
would warn
practice,
you ahead of time.
but the thing is, the last what did we have here in Hawaii? The last something happened. I forget what it was. All the sirens weren't going off.
Wow.
So yeah, so everybody was like, "What's going on?"
Hey Ohana, I hope you're loving this conversation as much as I am. I just wanted to pause for a quick moment to ask for your support. If you're enjoying what you're hearing and feel like we've earned it, we'd be so grateful if you could leave us a rating or review. Your honest feedback really helps us grow and reach more people who love exploring these fascinating topics. And if you think this episode would resonate with someone you know, don't forget to share it with them. Mahalo nui loa for being part of our journey. Now, back to the show.
It's some people didn't know there was an emergency, some did, and remember the Maui fire at the same thing.
Yeah.
So I don't know. And
Mm,
they just did a test because they do it every first of the month, if
right.
it's a Monday. So they just did it a couple of days ago on the first, and I could hear the siren, but it's so soft from where I am that if I had a TV on or if I had my something on, I
Mm,
wouldn't hear it. I just
mm,
happened to have everything quiet because I was editing and I could hear it.
mm.
Yeah.
There might be some natural way, for tornadoes, when they
Yeah,
had
the
the old
birds.
no, no, they actually had, your TV, when they had the old style TVs, you would put it on a blank station, and if it would suddenly come on, you would run for the cellar
Oh,
because it meant a tornado was within a
oh,
mile or
weird.
two still.
What?
Yeah,
Oh,
because
that's
it had
weird.
electronic effects.
Oh,
So
wow.
that was actually a warning.
And that's interesting. And if I had the TV on, of course, the stations will warn you. But Yeah,
Yeah.
but
I don't know if the new TVs have that same feature. They might be quite a bit different than the old ones, which were
the tube TV.
pretty primitive, 52 lines, and you vaguely did a Rorschach test to look at the picture. Now the pixels are so complete,
Yeah.
it's more like a movie screen.
Hmm. Well, let's hope there's nothing bad that happens between California and Japan and we
Knock
being the
on
center.
Knock on wood. There will not be a pole shift like people say, by the way. There might be a magnetic shift, but you're not
Oh,
gonna have the Earth tilt like that. The proof has been
okay.
in I've been seeing the evidence, and all of that thing about, yeah, up in the North Pole, they find the animals that were eating, warm foods. Not true. When they've investigated it, it turns out that it hasn't shifted for 2 million years at least, and maybe 3 million years. But the magnetic lines often shift, and that can make disruptions that are disturbing, not as disastrous as the whole planet going like that. And if
Right.
people believe in a flat Earth, how does that exactly happen? A pancake shift.
I don't know if do they think that it's actually going to shift, or do you think that, like you were saying, the magnetic something switches, like the Earth is not going to flip. It's the
Yeah.
pole itself, right? That's going to do something. I don't know if it's going to switch completely or if it's going to go off a little, and that kind of throws everything
Going
off.
going off, it shifts, but there are many people who believe that the whole planet was gonna shift. And
Oh,
until recently, I didn't know the difference, so I was
yeah,
starting to buy into that stuff. It's not gonna
sure.
happen. No, unless some kind of cosmic event happens that we don't know
Mhm.
about, but it hasn't happened in 2 or 3 million years. It's unlikely. The other shifts, I forget, they happen every so many thousand years or so many million years, not billions, but so it's a lot different.
Yeah, I know they keep talking about this end time, whether it's going to be spiritual or something disastrous like that, Armageddon somehow is going to come. They keep talking about that.
I believe in Spengler that the
So,
decline, if normal, all civilizations are not linear. They actually start as a baby and they grow up into an old man or old woman and die. And Spengler has called these other civilizations to such an exact degree that when I read his predictions and read his four of his books back in the day, I was so intrigued. And looking at it again, everything he predicted was is happening now. So according to him, we have 200 more years still, but it's going to be czars now. So it's going to be Caesars. There's not going to be any more democracy for 200 years. We'll have better times, we'll have good times, but anybody hoping for a resolution and an Asian civilization is going to take over. It seems to be happening. And even though the Japanese and the Chinese are supposed to be mortal enemies, if they come together and India comes together, could be a great civilization. Now, I looked up the trading between China and Japan. It's it's vigorous, it's robust, whatever the word is. There is a lot of trading. So obviously, when you have economic ties like that, that makes a big difference because they want to make it seem that China is totally against Japan and they always put it in the
yeah,
news, never
right.
going into the amazing trading going on between both of them and economic means. And with economic means, it means that some Japanese must be in China and some Chinese have to be in Japan. So I would not count on. There have been alliances back and forth throughout history, and
Mhm.
if the West depends on them being split, I think they have another thought coming.
And that's interesting. I know, like you said, Japan and China, they don't really like each other on the surface anyway. But everything is made in China now. I mean, everything. I mean, thanks to who started that? Was it Obama or before? I don't remember, but they stopped buying from Japan and then started to buy from China.
Clinton and Nixon was the guy who started it all.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah.
That's good.
He's the one, and now they see they want to. Trump is making tariffs and everything like that. That's not going to
Mhm,
work. It just
mhm.
will not work.
Yeah.
And
Short term,
and
maybe,
we don't.
right?
Yeah, and we don't have to worry about it destroying the U.S. The U.S. is going down the tube anyway. Except
Mm,
the secret is they can spend all the money they want because economics is false. So
mhm,
see, I realized a long time ago that this computer, this table, they're real. All the money ideas they have are made up stuff. You know, I used to I read The Creature from Jekyll Island, and one day I heard G. Edward Griffith, who I respect, interviewed on a show about his cancer book. And I realized, oh my God, I know a lot about cancer, and he doesn't know Sheila did from Shinola. He doesn't know anything about cancer. So now I realize since I'm not into economics, I read his book, Creature from Jekyll Island. It's a great story, but so was Frodo Baggins in The Lord of the Rings. I still have a copy of the book. I respect it. It is well written, and some of the results are there. But now I realize that the whole economic theory is false because it's just made up. Jacques Aran wrote a book similar. It is so convincing, but it's made up. There's so many economic theories, and economic theories are theory. They're ephemeral. They're reification where they're just in the environment floating around in people's minds. But this computer, this table, this wall, this window, those are real. All that happens with economic changes is that window and this house changes hands. The old documents go out, and actually your guns are more important than economics. If you got a gun, economics doesn't count because no matter what, this is the law, this is the rules, bang, that's the end of the story.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, now, geez, people can make guns with those 3D printers, right?
They can, and
I
now they have
know.
synchronized drones. You have the Chinese have developed, but so have the United States. You take 500,000 drones, and they synchronize. You ever see birds?
Oh,
How
yeah.
they synchronize?
Yeah,
But
yeah, yeah.
they're not controlled by home. They're given a mission, and they go out and do it any way they can. They figure it
Mm.
out, and they can do that now.
Yeah,
So
that's scary.
war with atomic uh, bombs is going to be obsolete. Why do that when you can just send 500,000 drones at your enemy and kill everybody or whatever the drones decide? Hey, let's do this, let's do that, let's knock out that, let's do this. They're giving all the information. It's a whole new world. Hmm.
I know. I mean, you've seen those Chinese drones where they do the dancing in the sky. They
Exactly.
can do all kinds of incredible art. You see it at night.
They do, and they'll figure it out themselves. Like they're not a person controlling it because they
Yeah.
can't do it fast enough. The drones have the speed. But it's not consciousness, it's control.
Mm.
Just like, okay, you look at a TV screen when it's off, is that consciousness? How come none of those white spots bump into each other? Amazing. It's the same phenomenon. There's no consciousness there. It's just, it's programming. And
Right.
the universe was kind of programmed, and then consciousness observes what's going on. But the universe itself is programmed. It's just a program of mind. Mind is what we're experiencing out there, and unfortunately, we're behind our eyes, and we're experiencing it from even a less vantage point than nature itself. But it's still a program. Now, consciousness goes out of it and looks at things and says, very interesting. I'm doing that, so maybe I can change it. But people usually don't go to consciousness; they go to hive mind. Oh,
Yeah.
what's his name says magnesium's good for you. Okay, pass it on. No thinking. Why is it good for you? What is it? What is it good for? When is it good for you? How much is good for you? No one asks those questions. Can you get too much of it?
It's the medical cult, right? It's a guy in a white coat.
And the reactive mind, just pass
Yeah.
it on. So
Yeah.
many people, you see it on Facebook, oh, that must be true, and they pass it on. Like they actually have on Facebook, I saw the Japan makes uh, vaccinations not mandatory.
Hmm.
And I look it up, and it happened in 1994. It didn't happen now. It's been like that since 1994. So,
Okay.
so a little late on that one, I'd say.
You're
This is old news.
But they do mandatory, I mean, they do want you to, or they act like it, that
Oh,
you
they do, and I'm sure
yeah.
that didn't apply during the pandemic.
I
And
don't think so,
I won't
yeah.
go into that, but now we can at least talk about the tip of the iceberg on these
Mhm.
subjects again. That's good. We have one freedom again in the age of the czars and the Caesars. It's going to get less and more and less and more, but
Mm.
democracy is gone. I think Spengler's right. One of the things he said that in a culture, that's what when a culture is born, it's not a civilization. But in our culture, he calls it the Faustian civilization. And he says, what's going to happen? How you can tell when you get into the age of the czars or approach it. Uh, they're going to want to take chemistry and combine it with light therapy and with mathematics, which they never did. Math was math, chemistry was chemistry, spectroscopy was spectroscopy. But now they combine chemistry with math. They use math to measure chemistry, and they use spectrometry to measure the atom. All of these he predicted back in 1918 or 20.
Yes.
And that was unheard of back then. But now, when you read his own predictions, and by the way, AI will lie. It will lie all the
Oh,
time.
yeah. All
But
the
on,
time.
but on some things that it knows people don't listen to, uh, I had read the thousands of pages of Spengler back in the day, and I wanted to look up some of this stuff. I couldn't look it up. To my amazement, since it's not a threat to AI, it gives the best analysis. So the things I read, I could look up and I could easily see that, yeah, I read that. I just wanted to find out where it was said. And AI will give it. You ask about other subjects, which I won't go into,
Yeah.
and it's going to lie and lie and
Mm.
lie, and sometimes subtly. With Ray Peat, one review gave really good details, but then it said he embraced estrogen. Now that's a way to sell estrogen. Now it doesn't sound like an honest mistake. I think that was programmed in there as a
Well, yeah.
tricky way to get people on estrogen, even though he was
Mhm.
firmly against it. That's
Well,
the
they
kind of thing you have to watch out for. And I have a background in living in libraries and bookstores, so I can tell pretty much when it's lying through its teeth or when it's telling the truth because I've read the books and done the research and seen it over the years how they've adapted it. Used to be put milk in your coffee to block the tannins, and now
I've heard that.
don't put milk in your coffee because you'll block the polyphenols. They're the same thing. It's a new word. You change the word, you change the reality. Don't eat phytates, but take IP6 for cancer. IP6 is phytates. Oh, what a surprise.
I don't know why they do that. I think they're trying to trick us. I don't know.
They do it all the time.
I
Uric
know.
acid is bad for you. It gives you gout, but it cures many diseases.
Does it
It's
really?
your best antioxidant out there. If the uric acid they knew would cure things, urine therapy has a small amount of it. But if you
Okay.
just use the indirect one in aloe, or you buy a 55-gallon drum of uric acid and start eating it, you have uh, you have immunity. you need to know dosage and things like that. But
Mhm.
if a person is dying of a disease, give them uric acid, you'll cure them. The doctors knew that. And even leech therapy used to generate uric acid. This was all in an article in Scientific American in 1936 or 7.
Yeah, I remember you talked about a friend of yours that was doing or did urine therapy. We didn't get into it, but you were talking about it. So what's the difference between, I don't know, is it alkalizing versus acidifying, or what is the urine therapy?
No, it doesn't really work very well. In
Oh.
certain cases, it will, like certain syphilitic diseases and things like
Mhm.
that, it can have value, but there's too little in it, and too many toxins come out in that urine.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
You think
Now,
so?
you can do it by swallowing your own saliva. It's the same thing. People get all upset about oil pulling and swallowing their saliva, but they'll drink their own urine, you know? And they even have feces tablets, homeopathic
Ew.
feces tablets.
No.
I first heard that from a Donald Lay, and I didn't believe it till I looked it up. It's true.
That's gross.
Right. Let's eat it. Let's eat all our bowel movements. Yummy, yummy, yummy.
Wow, that's crazy.
Do you
Um,
know the Inuit do it? They
no.
because they have so little food, the Eskimos and Inuit, they'll go and pick up animal feces and eat them.
Oh, like chips.
Yeah, yeah, it's like when
They
it
heat it
dries
up.
up, it has the minerals in it because many minerals come out. Again, why are all these minerals coming out?
Mm,
People like if you take zinc, maybe 75% will come out. They want to make more whole. Well, maybe the body is smart. Maybe it wants to get rid of that extra zinc instead of hold it in. And a lot of our therapies are how do we make these minerals stay in the body and kill people?
right, yeah. I think I read or some did you write something recently? I think I saw because I have a note of it, on X about water, excess water and inflammation.
Yes,
What's
exactly.
that?
I did.
You did.
Here, here's an interesting thing, and I don't remember the exact terms, but there is a middle ground that humans live in. Birds actually, their urine is dehydrated. And so when you get dehydrated, uh, it's different. And a fish is urine needs are a lot different. So here's the thing ammonia in the fish is much more toxic than uric acid. Uric acid basically is a buffer for ammonia. What happens if you drink any liquid over a quart at a time, you break down the uric acid into ammonia. And now it is oxidizing and oxidizes your body. It will spread cancer by drinking too much water
Wow.
because it was metastasized. Now, here's the thing you can break down an acid body uh, into alkaline in a half hour. You can drink that in a half hour later. It's happened. But to build it up takes 3 days because
Mm,
obviously you're regressing back retro into the fish. And now nature took a long time to build up. We basically are an analogy of that in our own bodies. So it takes 3 days to get it back. So now, if you sip on water throughout the day, no problem. You're not going to have a problem, and you're going to hydrate. Your body has time to distribute the water, urinate the excess out, and everything. But when you do that, you cause havoc in the body. And again, cancer patients could be maybe a little on the dehydrated side to be antioxidant to keep it from spreading and a person who wanted something to spread, wherever there are times you want to do that, but they're very specialized times. Then you would introduce an oxidative reaction. And when people, and it doesn't matter what the liquid is, it can be acidic, it can be soda pop
apple
with
juice?
phosphoric acid.
Mm,
No, now coffee
mm.
never was acid. There's no such thing as acidity in coffee. So you can drink all of that you want to. If you drink too much at a time, you have alkalized yourself. no chemistry involved. This is a higher meta chemistry, you might call it, that overrides these single elements.
Wow. Yeah. Um,
And by the way, uh, acidity is chi. A, a chef puts the lid on a pot to keep the life force from going out. That's the acids. The alkali are the buffer, the brakes. They go to the bottom. You can't get rid of the alkalis. They'll just stick to the bottom of the pan when you run out of water. But all of the chi goes out of it. So our life force that makes us active, there's nothing physical in me moving around. It's the acidity that does it. And I'm talking about total body acidity. You can't measure it in your urine. That's what's coming out of you. Your saliva, it's coming out of you. Even your blood isn't really part of your inner body. It's almost to the outside. That's why you can bleed so easily by cutting yourself. But other fluids in your body are vital and they stay in the peritoneum and other places. But anyway, that's the story and I'm sticking to it.
what about nicotine? Is
It's
nicotine bad? Besides,
uh,
obviously, not smoking is bad, but what about nicotine itself?
it's a deadly poison, but in homeopathic amounts, it actually can be valid. But who does it homeopathically? By
What?
homeopathically, you do one dose maybe every month. In fact, there is actually a therapy that is beneficial once a, once a month. This works for non-smokers. Doesn't do anything for smokers. You take a cigarette and you puff on it for 2 or 3 or 4 puffs and throw it away. And it actually gives you an immunity to identify certain poisons, and you don't become the boy in the bubble, and get an immunity to other type of nicotine related poisonings. So everything has a therapy in the
Mhm.
right dose and the right time.
What is acne? When people get acne, what's that mean? Are
Well,
they
first of all, it's
imbalanced?
who's the matter with you to get it.
Oh,
But it's
okay.
actually a dysregulation of the system, and again, it goes back to omega-3 fatty acids have a major
Oh,
role in it, and they toxify vitamin A, and so even taking vitamin A for it causes more problems and toxicities, and so, again, omega-3 fatty acids are pesticides that the plant system uses against us, and of course, it's been called the savior. They are not essential. They are our body can make it. If you're under stress, you can actually convert saturated fats into polyunsaturated fatty acids, either omega 6s, omega 3s, or whatever. Uh, I didn't realize that till about 20 years ago. It was in the research that it could be done, and I marveled at it. What you hear from other oil experts, like what's the multi oil guy, and anyway, they're false. Ravisi, the master, actually, Ray Peat knew a lot about fatty acids too, but Ravisi was the master. He worked it all out. He did aircraft oils and pHs. He did it right to human bodies. He was the cancer expert of the century, and of course, that's why he's so threatening. Other cancer people, oh, they don't mind them because they mislead people and bring them back to the medical clinic. But Ravisi was actually curing people. So he had lots of senators who used him on the sly. Do you know that even Bill Clinton testified at his trial to get him back his medical license? They
oh,
know. Charles Rangel, a whole bunch of other authorities, Atkins, all these people were on his side. But you don't
wow.
hear about that.
No. Is he still alive today?
No, he died at 101.
Wow.
He got his license back at 100 and died after his birthday with his license.
Oh, what
Thanks
year
to
was
all
that?
those people.
What year did he pass?
I would say it was 1998, and I talked to
Oh,
him just
wow.
before he passed on the phone. I was
No
given
kidding.
permission to come back and study with him, and
Wow.
my friend Marcella Von Harding said, "If you don't go, you're gonna regret it."
Hmm.
You know, I did, but I don't. There's other things to do, and I read his books over and over. One copy is so underlined in red, blue, coded, pencil notes, magic marker markings on certain things that it's almost unreadable. So fortunately, a friend of mine sent me a spiral bound one that he had, and now I have two, one right by my side. It's always here to
Oh,
look things up in because he
what's
really
his
was
book?
the master of cancer.
Wow, is his book hard to get?
It was $700 that had gone up to, but now it's free on the internet.
Oh, yay.
Unfortunately, it used to be so easy to access, they made it
Mhm.
very complicated. But if you go
Oh,
to that crazy pharmacist, you can still get in it, and computer savvy people will figure out ways to get it out. I recommend uh, somebody to people that they make copies of it while it's still there because it's going to be the textbook. It was a medical textbook at one time, and the pharmaceutical company ordered all residual copies to be burned, not sold. They would pay them full price if they would burn them all. So out of
wow.
the 50,000 printed, 40,000 of the medical textbook were burned. And
Wow.
Ribisi then printed his own in a spiral bound books, and now they're all gone too. But
Oh,
that crazy pharmacist, and I think someone else has actually published it on the internet, so it is available now, and I recommend people get it or my book, Cancer. Let me think of the title.
evil twin.
Yeah, can't. What is it? Cancer, not can. No, not cancer. Cancel. Not cancer. Cancel. Is available, and I explain a lot of it between my book and between Ravisi's book because I have information outside of the textbook. You'll have a grasp of cancer. However, the thing is with this, you better study ahead of time because if you try to read Revisi, he was so much of a genius, you got to study it. So
Wow.
it's for a person who wants to prevent cancer in their loved ones or wants to be ready if they get it in 10 or 20 years. It's not something, oh, I'm going to read it now and have a miraculous cure for cancer. That ain't going to work. No
What's
way.
the name of his book?
His book is oh boy, the title is so long, and though I've memorized the book, I don't even know the title. The physiology, Jesus, look up the Ravisi textbook on that crazy pharmacy, and you'll get the name. I'm always embarrassed about that. I've studied that book for over 30 years, and I still
Oh.
can't repeat the title. The end part is with special application to cancer. I remember that part. That's it.
Wow. Well, what do you believe is the root cause of diabetes? I know it's
Uh,
not what people think.
you're not going to believe this, but it's omega-3 fatty acids.
Everything is leads back to that.
It's a major part in aging. In
Mhm.
Aubrey de Grey, who is the only authentic researcher in my book, even though his solutions are pharmaceutical, I'm totally against it. But he understands the problem. That he does. Out of his seven deadly sins of aging, two of them involve fatty acids. And the third one, glycation, which is blamed on sugar, has a lot to do with fatty acids too. So we got 3 out of 7, other than cancer and losing all your cells and things like that. And the others also, though, have indirect leads to it. In other words, omega-3 acid accumulation into and the production of lipofuscin is the secret of aging. So you're going to find it. Now, diabetes has been blamed on sugar, but sugar is actually the cure. You tell people, listen, I say that on Facebook, people think I'm nuts. But here, think about it. Uh, if you're not eating sugar and you have diabetes, how did the sugar get into your urine if you didn't eat it? What happens is diabetes causes your vital tissue, your protein, to break down and be urinated out as sugar. So if you eliminate sugar, it keeps getting its sugar from your body on and on and on until your body is cachexia. You can get cachexia and cancer from diabetes. In fact, cachexia, diabetes is a protection from cancer. It's a preliminary warning to the pancreas because the pancreas is always involved in cancer as an early warning sign. The and there's an ear point that can validate your cancer vulnerability, actually in auricular therapy in the ear. But anyway, the point is that when you get diabetes, you get it from omega-3 fatty acids messing with it. Now, what two doctors did that went against the mainstream in the 1840s or 50s or 60s, they decided, since the sugar is coming from the uh, the pancreas. Uh, I mean, from breaking down vital tissue. Why don't we give it sugar so the diabetes can feed on sugar? And they figured they could extend the patient's life. What they were surprised at is they saved the patient's life. It cured the type 1 diabetes. It cured it because the sugar allowed the beta cells in the pancreas to rebuild and no more diabetes. And now, of course, diabetes is a moneymaker,
Oh,
insulin
yeah.
and all that stuff. And insulin is only 8% of the problem with diabetes anyway, because potassium will substitute for insulin. So it's all wrong. And the greatest work on that is Ray Peat, who was an expert on diabetes and particularly how they have messed it up with sugar. He's written numerous blogs. He's been interviewed on KMUD and other places, and I recommend. Though I cherry pick from Ray Peat, some of the things are kind of crazy. Think about 2 quarts of orange juice and 2 quarts of coffee in a day. That violates what I just told you about becoming over alkaline. And he hasn't, he knows of Ribisi, but he's never read them, obviously. But anyway, it's omega 3s. And this is personal to me because my dad, they basically put on a keto diet. He died at 54. He'd still be alive at 84. Well, he would have made it to 84 like the family usually made it. His father made it to 84. His mother made it to 84. He left at 54. So I lost my father when I was right out of high school because of them putting him on basically a keto acidic diet.
And what is keto diet? Is that just meat?
No, it's starvation. A
Oh,
carnivore, a carnivore diet is bad enough. Uh, But a carnivore diet you can be fit. A lion lives half as long as a horse and half as long as a cow. How come all the vegetarians outlive the meat eaters? But they can be fit. If you want to be fit like if you want to exceed uh, at the Olympics, you have a better chance eating a lion diet than a carnivore. But you're going to break down a lot faster. You're going to pay a price for it. Now, if you eat sugar in between, you can get the best of both worlds by being a carnivore with sugar to keep it from eating your tissues out. That's beneficial. Exception to the rule: if you know to be a yogi, you can live longer. A crocodile eats a meat diet. Why does it live to 100? Because it can hold its breath for as long as 6 hours.
oh wow.
Yogis could do that, but they still ate very low on the food chain, drinking donkey's milk and rice and things like that. But if you want to extend your life as a meat eater, then uh, then eat. Then you can eat carnivore diet if you practice breathing exercises.
So keto is they eat meat. I'm
Well,
sorry, they eat.
the carnivore diet and the keto are 2 things. The keto diet is you starve yourselves to death.
How do you?
So,
What do you mean starve yourself to
well,
death? You
you
don't
wanna
eat?
go into keto, go into a concentration camp where they don't feed you. You're in keto automatically. It's a starvation diet. It means you're starving. You're eating your own flesh. So the whole idea of keto is wrong. It's not carnivore, it's different. A lion is not a keto diet. A lion is on a carnivore diet.
Mhm.
People don't understand that distinction. Now, ketones are good. If you bake a potato at 400 degrees, you'll get ketones to add to your body. But otherwise, you're eating your ketones and they're making problems and killing people. So, of course, the medical profession wants us to live short lives so they
Mhm.
save money on Social Security, on other bills, and they make sure they have a lot of medical ailments. So, come in and get tested. We'll find something wrong for you. A test, what doctor? You didn't find anything wrong? What's wrong with you? I'm going to another doctor. Oh, here we found one. Take this drug for that. Take this drug for that. Take this drug. Thank you, doctor. Now I feel much better.
Right.
Can you
So
add some supplements? How about vitamin D? Can I take that too? Oh, yeah, that's good for you too. Okay, thank you.
and how long was your dad on this keto diet?
He got diabetes. Interesting. In about 1945, I was told that my mother was pregnant with a third child, and we were supposed to celebrate. It turned out both my mom and dad went to the doctor on the same day, and he was diagnosed with diabetes, and she was diagnosed with a 16-pound tumor, and not a baby. And so it was a big shock that day, probably even entered my system as a kid subconsciously. But then, so from that time on, he's given himself a shot in the butt. And I used to think, wow, I don't want to do that, you know. And so I ate sugar anyway, but fortunately I like olives and pickles and sour foods better. But I ate my share of sugar as a kid, and it
Mm,
didn't get to me. So what happened? I wondered about that. Why am I eating sugar and the kid next to me in the ninth grade has diabetes? You know.
mhm.
So actually, the secret lies in omega-3 fatty acids. There are other perturbations of it, but basically, it's very very hard to age and to get diabetes, which is admittedly an aging disease, by not by avoiding omega-3 oils. You're almost sure to not get it.
Did your dad eat a lot of fish? Your mom and dad?
No, he started his breakfast off with more than I eat in 2 days, and all kinds of meat and eggs and stuff that they told him to eat. So he's portion is in his body. He eventually got blindness, he got
Mm,
backaches, he got all kinds of things associated with it. And he died of kidney failure, which is typical for diabetics. And he died at kidney time, 5 to 7 o'clock of kidney time, too. So
mm.
follow circadian rhythms, even. And if he'd just taken some sugar, it would have saved his life.
Yeah, that's a shame. Well, you didn't know back then.
Nope. And
Mm.
instead, insulin is the toxic part of diabetes. It's not the sugar itself.
Is that what these people are taking today, this Ozempic, or is that different?
Yeah, oh, then that's a bad one. that that it loses weight, but it's like I don't know what the analogy would be, but there are side effects, and they are shortening their lives almost certainly by taking that drug. You know, even Gary Matsuoka, as a farmer, mentioned it's the same. Change the soil. Don't take a drug. And what that means is close your mouth. How many people in concentration camps are fat? There's nobody like that. So obviously, it's what we shove in our mouth. And I have asked many people, what do they eat during the day? They lie. They often lie.
Yeah, of course.
Now, this is a terrible way to do it and very embarrassing. But I have a friend named Greg Whiteley who shames people to make them lose weight. And this one person I know had a problem with weight. So when we would go out in a restaurant, can she eat that? And he would do this in front of the waitress. Oink, oink, oink. And so she would not do it. But she turned out to be absolutely perfect figure and everything, out of being basically chubby. She also followed his instructions and became an artist. She could draw like a kindergartner. She became a competent artist. She became a whole bunch of things under his instruction. My friend Greg Whiteley is a very unusual person and very severe therapy. Many people would have just, I'm out of here. But she stuck in and she lost all her weight and has never gained it back. And she's eating solar nutrition to this day.
Wow. That's awesome. Yeah, but I know I know some people that take Ozempic, although some say they're not taking Ozempic, but they're losing a lot of weight quite fast, or it could be a form of Ozempic, but they're saying, oh, I'm not taking that. But I believe a lot of them are losing muscle,
That's
you
exactly
know?
what they lose, yeah. And once you lose muscle, it's over.
It's yeah, because then that's yeah, it's almost like you say they're deteriorating because it shouldn't be you shouldn't be taking the muscle first. You should be taking the fat first when you lose weight, but it's the opposite with this. It's taking the muscle.
Even fasting takes the muscle unless you
Mhm.
buffer it with sugar or something else for the body to eat. That's called like a balancing. In fact, bodybuilders know that. If you're
Mm.
going to do any kind of fasting, make sure you have some sugar or something in there as protein sparing abilities. And but they forget that now. And now most people, they can fast overnight. If you're healthy, you won't lose muscle tissue in like 8 hours of sleep. But elderly people, they better wake up and take some sugar in the middle of the night because they are losing muscle tissue by lying down at night. And people who nap during the day, they lose it at a faster rate. They lose it at twice or more as they do as doing it at night due to a calcium conserving and protein conserving mechanism. That's why they
Oh,
get people out. They used to, after surgery, you'd stay in the hospital a week. Now they get you up and walking around and out of the hospital. It's not to make room for the next person. It's actually to keep you from getting. It actually happened to me. I'll put it that way. So I know this one personally. You do not stay around too long lying down, and especially during the day.
yeah, that's true. You talked the last time about, I'm not pronouncing this right, convivially therapy.
Which survey?
uh, con Convivial therapy, something about water. Remember we were talking about water,
Uh,
conserving water in like Bahamas, and it's
oh
convivial
yeah,
therapy.
yeah. How they can do it. You can actually
Yeah.
make. You can actually, by planting trees, bring the rain back. That's what they don't understand. Uh, if you plant trees, particularly that attract water, and strangely enough, if they grow from a young plant up, they conserve more water than if you just put a big tree there. You transplant a tree in the environment, and also if you have mulch on the ground, a couple feet deep even, it hydrates automatically. So they could actually terraform California. And then with John Nordberg's ideas, you could actually dig a tunnel, which could be done with what you call convivial therapy. In other words, the Amish could do it. You dig a big tunnel in the ground, you can use shovels or whatever, and then a vent going out. Water will come and precipitate down there at the bottom, and you can have your water. You can basically, instead of clouding seeds or seeding clouds, you can just suck it out of the air. In any place where there's over 15% humidity, even in the desert, you get that. You can suck all the air, all the water out you want. Plus, you can use fog nets. There's all kinds of way to attract water. California has no idea how to save water. They just let it rain and run into the sea, and then they wonder why they're short of water. We do not have to have it delivered from the Snake River in Idaho or up north in northern reservoirs. You can make it right local. Just like local farmers, you can make your local water. But they're just stupid about it. And they don't want to because they want water now to be a commodity. They don't want to make it free to people. Yeah, they regard it like a food that has to be taxed and shipped and supplied by the state. That's where they're going. In Oregon, where my son lives, it's illegal to save your own water. He does it anyway, but and a lot of people do. I mean, so far they're not tracking them, but eventually they want to track everybody and see if they're doing this kind of stuff, and that's where they're getting with all these drones. They'll have drones spying on you, flying over your house.
Yeah, that's right. They can
Yeah,
see
yeah,
that. That's right. Hmm.
that's where they're going. Drone police showing up for duty.
Yeah, that's pretty scary. Hopefully we won't get to that state, but I'm sure we will.
Hopefully,
Yeah. Yeah.
eventually, I think it's going to happen.
Yeah.
To me, it's delaying it is what's important. The most we
Yeah,
can
you're right.
preserve our quality of life for either us or our children or grandchildren, but eventually there's going to be some kind of holocaust of some kind. It's going to
Mhm.
be nuclear, whatever it's going to be. The good news about nuclear, as happened in Japan, that one guy was in both cities. He got severely irradiated in the first one, which I forget which was the first.
Hiroshima?
It was
I think.
Hiroshima first, then
Yeah. Oh,
Nagasaki.
no. I think it's Nagas is the other way around. I think
Okay.
yeah. Hiroshima
So
is the second, I believe.
so anyway, he went to the second city for therapy, and then they dropped the bomb on that one. But he lived to
Yeah.
101.
Wow.
So so what kills you is to be in the center where you're vaporized. So
Mhm.
there will be whole cities in nuclear war that will disappear. But the
Mm.
people with radiation, if they eat an acidic diet and they know what they're doing, they can live to 101 or so. And they avoid omega 3. Basically, radiation mutates into omega-3 fatty acids and spreads through your body. It doesn't stay as plain radiation. That's why they can't measure it. They say,
Mm.
up, your radiation is gone. No, it isn't. It's simply transmuted into other chemicals. Omega-3 is a major one, but there are other ones too. Nitric oxide, serotonin, even melatonin.
Wow. So every time you go through that airport check when
You
they
get a
make you
little
stand there.
radiation. I don't think it's major, but if you keep going
Yeah.
flying all the time, you're going to get it. The good news is you get less cosmic rays up in a plane than you do on the ground
Wow.
because they're coming through your body faster. When you're down in the ground, they go slow, and that's what causes the damage. And
Oh.
if they hit one molecule, they'll spread into 200 of them, and now you
Oh.
have 200. Otherwise, it's like a bullet going through you. An alpha radiation is like having a radio. You swallow it, and it's a radio broadcaster giving you radiation, dit continuously through your life. So the alpha radiation in your smoke detector is more dangerous. And what
Mm.
happens in a fire? They say, oh, it's protected by the plastic. All you get is a little bit of gamma, but you don't get any alpha. What happens in a fire when the plastic melts? It goes into the ground. People grow a garden in it, and This our little box here has about four of those smoke detectors. Our landlords has a big house. They have probably about 25 of them. If their
Oh,
house burned down or Oprah's house or something, there'd be hundreds of them. Forget the gardens, you're getting radiation.
well, look what happened in LA, then all those fires in every home, even in
and
the Maui fire here.
and all stupidity because they didn't even have a reservoir on line. They could have had plenty water ready, and if they knew how to put stuff on the ground, people said it was some kind of attack because the trees don't burn. Trees don't burn in fires. They just lose their leaves as a max because they're living and they're full of water. There is so much water in a tree, they're not going to burn. So a house will burn down with the dried wood or with even other plastic and things like that, it'll burn down and the trees will still be standing. And next season they'll grow their leaves back like nothing happened. That's a common thing. So
I
the trees will actually protect you, but you must clean out the debris, the dead wood that falls to the bottom. They didn't do that.
didn't do that. So is that what caused the trees to burn or something else?
Right. Well, the trees didn't burn, but all the brush did, and all that fire. Of course, the sparks went up from all that dry wood, went on people's roofs, and they could have here in Montecito. They have metal roofs on a couple of houses. They're
Oh,
fireproof. They're not going to burn, and they could redesign your roofs like they do in Bermuda to get water. There's no water on Bermuda, but they do fine. They collect all the little bit it rains. They collect it on their roofs, and they have plenty to go through the year. There are so many ways to get water, and they don't want it because they want people to move out so they can put in their 15-minute cities and whatever else they're doing, their condos, whatever. That's what they're doing in Malibu now. They're putting in,
really?
yeah, they're putting in these apartments and low income housing. Supposedly,
Oh,
it's not
really?
going to be low income, I guarantee.
Wow. So they're starting to clean up over there, but they're putting in. So did people sell their property then, their land? What
A
was
lot
it?
of them are gonna have to because to
Mm,
rebuild, they were saying, "Well, we're gonna make the laws so you can rebuild right away." No, they're gonna have to redo everything for millions of dollars to
mm.
rebuild. So a lot of people saying, "Heck, I'm
They
moving to
can't do it.
Idaho."
Yeah, they can't afford it, of
No,
course.
no,
Absolutely. Because after all that toxic ashes that's from the fire, I mean, the land itself is now toxic.
that's true.
And so they gotta remove all that. And I don't know what else they have to do, but you just can't build a home on there. You have to
Mm,
detox the land somehow.
exactly. The best authority on the fire is Adam Carolla. He was someone who lived there, and his house was spared. But
Mm,
he went around and did shows showing the damage and how it could have been prevented and a lot of things. So he was an activist on that, and his stuff was really good. I don't usually watch him, but that was particularly excellent work.
mm. That's interesting. Well, Adam, thank you again for joining me today. We always have an enlightening conversation. I truly value the depth that you bring to these discussions. But before we close, can you let the audience know where they can find your work and how they can connect with you further?
I was just going to say I forgot that. Where's our advertisement, sweetie? You know?
We need to put that on before.
Yeah, I know, I know. But people will get it. Also, if anybody knows will rent us a house in Lompoc, California, please do so. We need it. Can you see that at all?
Yes, I can. Yes, hold it up for a minute.
Solar
Right there.
timing.
Yes, they right there. Yeah, that's it. So we can see the .com.
That is sun. Oh, wait, the solartiming.com is where you buy our books. We have over 100 books and journals now. There's classics like Acidify or Die. There's the solar nutrition books, and the mesmerism book is one of my favorites, 173 chapters, etc. And then SunSync Nutrition is a $99 sign up where I have 2,000 or more blogs. We have a food list. We have a we have what? Trauma in the trauma video where you go through the cycles of the black, the gray, the brown, the red, the orange, the yellow, the green, the blue, the indigo, the violet, and the white, and you clear yourself and get clear of a trauma, not colored or biased of a trauma. Anyway, that's my speech, and I'm sticking to it.
Well, thank you again, Adam. It's always a pleasure having you on. I appreciate your time, your wisdom, and your willingness to share it with all of us. So, looking forward to our next conversation.
Same here. You're my. This is my of all the interview people I've worked with. You're my favorite, by the way.
Oh,
Thumbs
thank
up, and
you.
I wish you the greatest success.
Thank you. A big thank you to Adam Bergstrom for joining me today. Your insight is always appreciated, and these conversations are never boring. To my listeners, thank you for tuning in. And if you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to follow, subscribe, and share it with someone who needs to hear it. You can support the show by joining me on Patreon or buying me a coffee. Links are in the description below. Every bit helps keep these conversations going. Until the next time, guys, stay curious, stay sensible, and never stop asking questions. Ahui ho kako. Bye.